clear about the points I'm going to discuss. Going to a lunch, going to a meeting, going to a party is very much like making a presentation. If you want to up your game in life, challenge yourself. Talk about a few things that you feel you'd like to, know about. Read up a few news items. Think about what's trending on Twitter today and discuss things which are of general interest. Some of the things which you need to definitely keep away from. And a lot of things which I talk about, you're going to remember and say, hey, that's the opening line of so many of my friends. Wait. You never, ever discuss weight. It's a social etiquette no-no. Even if you're telling somebody that, oh, you've lost so much weight. It's a social etiquette no-no. You mean it as a compliment, but it's not a compliment. It could also mean that, hey, you were so fat and you're looking thin now. In the norms, in the world of social etiquette, discussing weight is an absolute no-no. Avoid politics and definitely avoid religion. These are touchy subjects, especially in India. It's something that it's private, it's personal, and we don't make friends based on their religions. All religions are beautiful and are acceptable in the world where you are headed or already belong to. We need to understand that religion is something that is socially not acceptable. Give genuine compliments, compliments that you mean. I'm coming back to the point where a lot of people feel, I'm going to go out of the house and be very polite at lunch and come home and raise my voice with my cook. Or I'm not going to say please or thank you to my kid because they know I love them. My son knows I love him. I don't have to keep saying thank you to him. I do so much for him. No, please and thank you is across the board, whether it's to your Bahadur, whether it's to your son or your mother or your grandmother. Think about how many times we just don't do it with people we are close to, and we make that little effort with our friends for the little window of superficial moments when we are out partying. This is not personal, ladies. This is mistakes made across the board. I hope you'll be objective when you accept it from me. Being boastful, arrogant, or loud is a complete no-no. You slowly find that you become unpopular and people don't gravitate to you. You enter a room, people don't come towards you with love and affection, because love and affection is actually the game changer in life. And believe me, etiquette and good manners is a great tool and an accessory for welcoming good friends and having genuine long-lasting relationships. Listen before speaking, a very important conversation tip. Hear the person, let them finish their sentence. Have you noticed how some people just finish your sentence for you? So before you've said anything, somebody's taken over or interjected. Or on the other hand, at a lunch, 3 ladies are talking and you find you're at a loose end and you just walk into that group and you decide to take over the conversation. Instead, I would recommend that you walk into the group, stand, and pick up on the conversation and then participate rather than being impolite and interrupting. How many times you've been standing in a group and a lady's just walked in and taken over the conversation and you've cringed? You may not know this, but subliminally, people remember, even you remember. And when somebody's been kind, thoughtful, and polite, there is a subliminal bond created between you and the person. I remember the first time I met Munira, who's part of this forum, was in a lift, and I remember she smiled so beautifully and said hello to me. I've never forgotten. So that little hello, that thank you, that sorry, thinking before you speak, listening to somebody more than wanting to tell your own story, you will get a chance to tell your little story. Ladies, when a person talks about themselves, every time when they're full of themselves, when they don't allow the slightly more shy person in the group to speak up. It makes for a bad social interaction, something that humiliates a person and they don't get over it easily. So allow the slightly shy people to speak. You will get your chance. So always remember, no weight, no age, no salary questions. Avoid politics and religion. Give genuine compliments from the heart and try and start a conversation by saying, "Hey, Cami, you look lovely today. I love your scarf," which is genuine, by the way. If you bump into someone, remember to apologize, even if it's their fault. You know that you never have to be boastful and arrogant. You have to speak with kindness and caution and never criticize somebody. If you have something nice to say about somebody, please go ahead and say it. It's lovely to be able to see something nice in everyone you have an interaction with. But try not to criticize and pull somebody down. A joke is not funny when it's at the cost of somebody in a group. It's a complete no-no. Choosing to believe the best about other people is something that will take you very far. And demeaning somebody, being rude, or making observations that humiliate a person is not something that you want to do. When you are going, to a dinner or a party, some things that you need to do. Firstly, always carry a little present with you, even if it's a token. It is impolite to enter a party without a little token. This is a social etiquette norm, and it's an international norm. Showing gratitude for being invited is by being on time. Being late is not cool. It doesn't give you an edge. Being a few seconds before time shows respect and gratitude to your host. Ladies, RSVPing on the last day and not RSVPing at all is one of the most impolite things that a human being can do. In fact, believe it or not, I don't invite people who don't RSVP. Cities like Tokyo, Paris, New York, Bombay are cities with small restaurants, small homes. You can only accommodate that many people to dinner or to lunch or to an afternoon tea. To be able to make a good guest list, your host needs to know 24 hours within the invitation period whether you're going to attend or not. After 24 hours, it becomes rude and impolite to RSVP. So try and make sure that you are always within the 24-hour limit. If you're going to be late to your party or lunch or afternoon tea, message your host and ask her if it's okay. Ask him if it's okay. Tell them that, I can't avoid it. Is it okay if I come half an hour late? So these are things we often don't do, but they are very, very important. After the dinner's over, remember to send a thank you note. These days, it's acceptable to do it on WhatsApp or email. Alternatively, call in the next day after asking the person, is it a good time to call? Never, ever take your mobile out of your handbag through a dinner or a lunch and start looking at it. One of the greatest insults you can levy upon a person is when you don't show interest when they are speaking. Even on, in the new normal during COVID, when you're on a Zoom call and you're talking to your servant or you're looking at your phone through a Zoom call, it tantamounts to the same thing. Being attentive, being polite, and looking at, to some extent, giving a little bit of eye contact is important. I mean, you can't stare at a person. Staring is really a no-no. But you look at the person and you give a certain amount. To look disinterested is one of the worst things you can do in a conversation. So being attentive and being aware of what the person is saying, asking a few questions is very, very important.